Hey, what's going on, guys? Brian from Zombie Guitar here. This video is about how to tune your guitar. Alright, so basically we're just going to be putting the guitar in standard tuning, and by standard I mean it's just the standard of guitar tuning, okay? There's all kinds of other non-standard guitar tunings that people use, but for the most part, most of the stuff that you hear on the radio, most rock songs, most whatever songs, any stuff that you use generally are going to be in standard tuning, okay? So the way that a guitar is tuned, starting from the lowest string, okay, the string that's closest this direction, that would be the lowest pitched string, you have the note E. This is the low E. Okay, then the next string would be your A. Your next string is D. Next string is G. Next string is B. And then the highest pitched string would be E as well. So that is the high E. So it's E, A, D, G, B, E. Alright? That spells Eadgb. So just remember Eadgb. Just kidding, I don't know. It's just E-A-D-G-B-E. Anyway, so that is the strings tunings. Alright, so how to get these strings in tune? Well, what I would do if I was you, and what I do now, I've been playing for many years, what I use is I just use an electric tuner. An electric tuner looks like this. Alright? It's called a snark, but they have other kinds, other names for them. And this simply just clips on to the top of your guitar right up here. Get in the camera view here. Clips on, and what this does is it picks up the vibration of the strings, and it tells you if you're in tune or not. Okay, so turning this on, I'm going to try and get the camera to see this. Let me try and get in view here for you. There you go, you should be able to see that. So when you pluck a string, okay, it tells you how. See how the E is coming up there, and then if you hit the A string, the A comes up. If you hit the D string, the D string, the D comes up. Alright, so I can't really do this while I'm on camera here at the same time, but just knowing that if you're striking the D string and the D is coming up and it's showing lights lighting up in this direction, okay, that means that you have to make it go more this way. Okay, so lights to the left of the letter D means that the string is slightly low, slightly out of tune on the lower side. So you'd have to tune the string higher pitched, getting it right in the middle. Okay, so it's very hard to see on this camera, but you'll know that it's perfectly in tune when there's no red indicators on this side and no red indicators on that side. Okay, when it's right in the middle, just saying the letter D, if you're on the D string, that's how you know you're perfectly into tune. Once you get one, once you slap it on your guitar, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It's super easy to use, okay? So you just do that for all the strings. E, A, D, G, B, E. Okay, you don't even have to have the volume on. See, I'll have my volume off, no volume on my guitar, and it still knows. See, it's still picking up. It's still picking up the strings. Okay? So this is all based on the vibration that the string is creating in the guitar. Okay, so you don't have to have your volume on to do this. Alright, so that's that. Now, a thing to be careful is make sure that you're not tuning to a sharp or a flat note, okay? Sometimes tuners will let you know if it's a sharp note. Sometimes tuners will let you know if it's a flat note. For example, if you're on the D string and you're a little bit too highly tuned, it may be picking up the frequency of D sharp. Alright, so that'll be a D with a little number sign right next to it. Okay, the number sign indicates sharp. Alright, so the tuner's trying to get you in tune to D sharp because that is the frequency that the string is closest to. Alright, in this case right now, this guitar is pretty well in tune, so it's picking up, it's picking up the note D. But there are times where your guitar might be significantly out of tune, and the closest pitch that one of your strings is on, the tuner is picking it up, and it may be picking it up as a sharp note, but you may overlook that little sharp sign, that little number sign. You may just see the big letter D, ignoring the little number sign, or not knowing that that means D sharp, and you may go ahead and tune your guitar with that one string being a D sharp, but all the rest of the strings are correct, and your guitar is just going to be terribly out of tune, okay? So just keep in mind that tuners do pick up sharp notes and flat notes, okay? And unless you're trying to tune to another kind of tuning other than standard, you don't want to, no flats, no sharps, just E, A, D, G, B, E, okay? So a sharp note will appear on the tuner as a number sign, so D, number sign, D sharp. A flat note will appear on a tuner as a little letter B, okay? A lowercase b. So D with a little lowercase b right next to it, D flat. You don't want to tune to D flat either, you want to tune to D, okay? So keep that in mind. That actually happens more often than you would think. Even professional guitar players, they may be tuning real quick or something, and they may overlook that little flat sign or the little sharp sign, and they may tune one of their strings to the wrong pitch just by ignoring that sharp or flat, okay? So that's that. So real super easy to use little electric tuner. They're about $30. They'll last you forever. I would pick one up, and your guitar will always be perfectly in tune. If you don't have one of these available, if you just want to tune your guitar by ear, you can do that as well. And the way you do that is, well, number one, you have to somehow get your low E string in tune, okay? And your low E string has to be in the correct tune, and then you're going to tune the rest of your guitar to the pitch of your low E string. And the way I do that is I put on the song Nothing Else Matters by Metallica, and that song goes like this. Alright, so I listen to that song, and that first note, which is this, is an E, and I use my ear to match the pitch of my low E string on my guitar to the sound that I'm hearing on that song by Metallica. Okay, so that's how I get my low E string into correct tuning as close as possible with my ear. Okay, once I do that, you can tune the rest of the strings to that one string by doing this. You go on the 5th fret of the low E string, okay, and then you want to make sure that your A string has the same pitch or the same sound as the 5th fret of the low E string. So alright, so you know that because your E string has been tuned correctly, or as close as possible by using your Metallica Nothing Else Matters reference note, you know that since your E string is in tune, if your A string happens to be out, if your A string happens to be lower or higher, you would simply adjust the tuning peg of your A string either down or up in order to match this note. Okay? Once you get your A string in tune, you would then do the same thing. You would put your 5th fret, you would press the 5th fret of the A string down, okay? And that has to be the same pitch as the next string, which is the D string, so. Alright, and you know that since your A string has been tuned, that your D string is now the one that needs to be adjusted in order to match the A. Okay, so. Alright, so now you have 3 of your strings in tuned. Now you do the same thing. You press the 5th fret of the D string. Okay, 5th fret of the D string has to match the open pitch of the G string. Okay, if the G string is out, then you have to adjust either up or down, such that they match. Okay, now once you get to the G string, because of the way that the guitar is set up, you have to go down to the 4th fret of the G string, okay? So it's 5th fret, 5th fret, 5th fret, 4th fret of the G string. Okay, now the 4th fret of the G string needs to sound like the open B. Okay, if the open B doesn't sound like that, you have to adjust your B string. And the last is the 5th fret of the B string. Press down the 5th fret of the B string, and it has to sound like the open E. If the open E does not sound like that, you adjust accordingly. Okay, so you always go tune in this direction. Start by getting your low E string in tune however you can. You could use a pitch pipe, you could use any sort of reference note, you could use a piano, you could use an E on the piano. Anything to get this E into tune. Once you do that, 5th fret, 5th fret of the A, 5th fret of the D, 4th fret of the G, 5th fret of the B. Okay, and you tune like that. So my ear is definitely far from perfect. My pitches are not perfect when it comes to tuning. I'm not good at tuning this way, so I just use my trusty electric tuner. I've been using one for 20 years. I never leave home without it, never go to a gig without one. I use my tuner. But in the case where you don't have a tuner, that's the method of tuning your guitar, by using your ear, okay? So that's how you get your guitar into standard tune, and that's that. If you don't understand anything, if I left anything out, feel free to message me, and I'll do my best to answer your question. Thanks a lot.